finishing very late at night and so on. So, but we are here. Um, when you look at the syllabus on what you are supposed to cover, we are almost somewhere because we've covered a lot of work on the way. Um, and we are still moving on to cover the entire work that is still pending. Um, Sometimes we go miles to sacrifice much for us to make it here based on how busy our schedules are, but it's part of our learning process. Today's topic is about having some concepts that are outside what we normally do in our daily life, but considering our levels of education, professionalism, our engagement, the publicity that we are supposed to be having, the image branding that we have across it provides some essence of why we need certain things. Why we need certain things. And for that case, then, as a professional, or when you are in a certain level of professionalism, there are things that you need to acquire and have. For instance, some basic skills on how to create something for your publicity, or a knowledge to make you have certain things to be able to execute across the globe. So, web development is a very essential concept that all of us requires to have. And when it comes to web development, you are developing something that is going to feature outside. For instance, you love educating people on a certain concepts. The question is, what are you able to teach them? And how do you want to teach them? Assume that you are a storyteller, but you don't have a chance to get into a television or a radio station to tell your story. What is the best way to do? Is you can create your own space where you can speak your mind, where you can publish your story. Assume that you are dealing with research and you've come across various aspects that you love sharing with people. How do you ensure that these people are able to see what you have? So it takes you back to what is called web development. So, how do we create visibility outside here? How do we publish our own thoughts? How do we spread the concepts that we have, however little it is? Then that means that we need our personal publicity points for us to be able to communicate. our needs, our engagements, our competent skills, and other small concepts. Therefore, that brings us now to what's called web development. Assume that you want to create a vlog. You go to the studio rooms, then you buy certain materials such as the cameras, then you buy things like the microphone stands and so on. Then you intend to start a vlog whereby you are calling people for discussions, they discuss about certain concepts, and then they get contented. And maybe you are live streaming for people to listen to you and watch you. A very good example is people like Akina Jalango before they went to parliament. And you see, that is what created the visibility for such people. You come right now, you see there is another one called Obina TV show. They are there. You look at this guy, I've forgotten his name, but he's a Nigerian, he's a South African guy who speaks about business insights. And within his vlog, he always just talks about how communication is very important when it comes to building the business and creating a network in terms of branding and communicating ideas that are direct to what can be beneficial. And these are the individuals who are always being invited as keynote speakers or as guest speakers to various functionalities. This includes webinars, it includes conferences, it includes business groupings, and so on, just because they are seen outside here and they have massive following based on what they do within their vlogs. But this vlog requires a space where all these things needs to be updated and to be shared across. Now, that tells us that as an individual or as a professional, it is responsible for teaching students or teaching people, educating others, and having some principles and tools and technological aspects that can be used in the creative industry, in the designing aspects, and in the development space. So all these things are required. Let me show you. Like, as a company, we are doing a lot of things in a day. Like, if I just show here, we have WHO systems, which we have just finished working on it for the updates last week. Um, we also have other companies that we are working on, like the Joss Hansens, which are a very big company which was established in 1919 to date, and they have a lot of massive functionalities and so on. But we are here to change things and guide them and tell them what is the best way to go. They have a lot of health services within, and we are still working on these systems to complete and to be able to publish them. You can see that and so on. So the quotation for the project only is too high too, because it depends with how long and how big is the project. Because without this, then very few people will be able to know about the visibility of your business or the visibility of what you do. You see, if it was established in 1919 and up to date now, we are now making now the best visibility across Africa. This is a company that has branches in Ethiopia, Ghana, Uganda, Rwanda, Kenya, Zambia, Tanzania, Malawi. Right now, Eswatini is there, Lesotho is there, South Africa has come, and so on. And you see, we are doing all this building for this company for the purpose of having what is called feasibility, and for people to know that you exist and you have the solutions. So, all these are concepts that people need to have. For instance, you are talking about journals. Let's say Cooper's journals. So, if it is about journals, what is a journal? It's a web dedicated for publication of research material. Apart from all other things, it is a web. There's nothing else. It's still a website where you have journals that have been placed inside, where people can be able to go there and read, use them for research, publish other materials, and other things. So, all these are things that we are talking about. Now, web development is very, very essential when you are in higher professional levels because you need feasibility. You need people to know what do you do, what services do you provide, and many other things. Therefore, what are the elements or components of web development that you need to grasp, you need to know? We'll start by, first of all, talking about the definitions of web developments. What are the concepts that you need to learn about that before we can now start now looking at other things that exist? Now, what is web development and design? What is web development and design? Have you ever come across such? Because there is just designing and there is creation and building, transferring the concepts into the real and actual work. Now, web development and design is the process of creating, building, and maintaining websites and web applications. So it's not just limited to websites. We also have what are called web apps or web applications. These are applications that can be accessed through the website, but they are portals. Like, for example, ODELs, Open Distance Learning Systems. These are web apps, but they are not websites. But an organizational website or an organization platform where it is telling just the stories about the organization, then that is a website. But where you have a portal and you have access to it and it has a lot of functionalities inside there, for instance, ERPs, then we or enterprise resource plans, then we say those are web apps. Now, a web design focuses on the appearances and user experiences of a website. And in that case, mostly it involves creating website layouts and page structures. Now, the question should be, what do we use in creation of web layouts and page structures? So we use what are called HTMLs, that is in the front end, CSS, that is cascading style sheets, HTML is hypertext markup language, CSS is cascading style sheet, and JS is JavaScript. Now, the other thing is that there is choosing of colors, fonts, images, and graphics. The way you do the design of your slides, the way you do the design of your text or a document when you are preparing or typing, you always use headings, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, and all other many things that are involved there. Now, then, so there is choosing of fonts. For instance, just a website that I've just demonstrated here, or I've just opened here. This is a font. When you look at this font, it is not just a normal font. It is very unique and it's different. When you look at also this one here, it's different. When you come to the Scoopers one, it is also different from this one. So that means that the font types used are different. When you come to WHO also, and then you try to look at it, the font is also different. So fonts can also be used as a trademark. And most of you understand what about the intellectual property rights. Now, what if we search for a website like Coca-Cola? Let's say Coca-Cola, and then you search for it. Look at the coloring. Look at the coloring. Look at that font. It's totally different. See? It's totally different. So everything here comes based on what you want to discover. So these are the things. You can see how they have ordered their things here, the way they look like. So a whole big company like Coca-Cola, that's how their website look like, you know, not cumbersome, just some small stories. Let's talk about Bill Gates. Bill Gates. When you come here to Bill Gates Forbes, let's say Bill Gates blogs, then you find the Gates notes. So when you go to the Gates notes, then you'll get into all stories that Bill Gates and Gates Foundation do, the books that they have developed, the work that they are doing, what are their imaginations. You see, we are entering a golden age of that research and so on. So if you want to get about stories about Bill Gates, what he does, where, in Africa, in where, then, or different top stories that he's creating or that are in line with what he does, then you just go to his blog, thegatesnotes.com, and then you get all the things about him. Now, myself, if I want maybe to share lecture materials or whatever with my students, I don't need to start pampering their WhatsApps with notes or whatever. I just have to direct them to the website, to my personal website and bio, for them to get all the notes that they want. If I want to share about my CV for public and keynote speaking, I don't have to get into writings and so on. I just share my blog and people will be able to know what are the functions that I do, what are my engagements, how can they be able to book my schedule, and other things. So, apart from my company's website and brands, I still have my own separate things where somebody can be able to know about me. So all that is what we are speaking about, the importance of having the web development or websites for our personal engagements and work. Now, let's look at what else does the web development help us to do. So, ensuring the website is visually appealing and easy to use, all that will be done by web design. And then designing a responsive websites that work on the computers, tablets, and smartphones. Also, that one is the work of web design. Now, what is web development? Web development now focuses on the technical construction and functionality of a website. It involves writing codes using languages such as HTML, that's hypertext markup language, cascading style sheets, JavaScripts, Ajax, PHP, Pythons, and all those, Node.js, React.js, and all those other programming languages. It involves developing and interacting features like the forms, login systems, online payments, and so on. Connecting websites to databases and so on, all that is involved. Testing, deploying, and maintaining is involved there. Now, there are two types of web development. We talk about the front end and the back end. Now, front end creates the parts users see and interact with. So if you are interacting with my interface and you are seeing there a form, you are clicking it, you are seeing there blog posts, you are clicking them and read them, then that is a front end. Then we have the back end, which is the server side or database section. So this one is it is involves management of servers, databases, and application logics, where we are now using that section now to collect all that you are interacting doing. For example, you are filling a form, registration form from the front end. I have to get that data back at the database end so that I can be able to download them, print them, and then be able now to give the report. Then we have full stack development. Full stack development now combines both the front end and the back end. Front end and the back end, so that it combines both these HTML, CSS, JS, and PHP, and all those others for the back end areas. JavaScript, PHP, and Python, for example, Django, and so on at the back end. Now, for you to have a better understanding of this development, nowadays we have what is called agentic AIs, which are able to communicate and to be able to understand your concept and then be able to generate codes for you. So sometimes now you don't need maybe to know how to code or how to do what, but still you get just your work being done completely. We also have tools such as WordPress, which you can be able to use them so easily. You don't need to code. You only need to know how to connect those two concepts, and then you'll be having your website up and running. But you'll need some little knowledge on what section is this, what section is this, how am I able to add this, how am I able to change this, and so on. So those are the things that we are talking about. In the earlier days, web development was a very hard concept. You cannot be able just to write codes like that. It was a very hard thing. And people fear reading so many complex things. It's just like dealing with mathematics. It is even more than mathematics because what you are working on are very tough things. For instance, I open here something called Visual Code. When I open this Visual Code, when I open this Visual Code. Assume that now this is what you have, these things here. Let me open public index file. Then I put this one. Then I say that now understand these things. That you are supposed to understand these things and be able to write them by yourself. And what does this system does here? Let me open that so that you can be able to get to know what does this thing needs. So I'm opening a server. This is the server end for demo and for practicing aspect. Now I want to run this software. So I'll start here within the, I'll have to run this. Let me say npm run or start run. Let me say run start so that I can start the server for this. Now I can access this website through that, this portal through that. So I can come now to the browser here and I'll start because I'm using the local host and then search for that because that's what we have here, this line here. So if I want to have that healthy, still I can be able to have that, then I can be able to say health. So once I clear that, you can be able to see that it's telling me that the site is healthy and the status are working correctly. So I'll just come back home. Now assume that now I have to log in as the administrator here. You see that system. I have to log in there, check the inventories, do the inventories, consignments, shopping listings. You need maybe to do the shipments, orders, tenders, and all those things. So all these are things that if it's a vendor and is supposed to do some consignments, shipments, checking the orders, tenders, and listings and so on, then that is what that platform does. But these are the codes that are doing that. That these are things, the functionalities that we have placed into that system to be able to do all that. Now, the question should be that now, how do you write these? These are what are called codes, programming now, because you need to master this. Why are we using const? Why are we using unit items and then other things here? So these are like mathematics concepts that are even beyond mathematics because you have to write things here that you really understand what are they doing. So these are what are called codes or writing programs. So those are the things that we are going to talk about when it comes to web development. And that's why it's very, very important for you to have some mastery ideas to be able to know that. Number two is about passion. If you don't have passion, some of the things you'll not be able to learn by yourself because you lack that patience and passion to learn. So web development and design is the process of planning, creating, designing, developing, and maintaining websites and web applications to ensure they are functional, user friendly, visually appealing, and accessible on the internet. So that is it. Now let's look at the structure, HTML structure and contents of the CSS. What is HTML? We have said it's hypertext markup language, which is a standard for structuring web contents. Even if you open which website, the concept or the content is just the same. Even if you open Oxford University, or Harvard University website. Then you open that. The same thing is what you get here. Let's say we do the inspection here. So these are the same things that are running this website. See, these are, if I want to check every element, then that is the element of that area. When I open here, I go to edit text, then that is what you are seeing. So these are HTML texts. And then you have these elements, CSS elements. And you see when I touch some of them, they show everything in that area. So if I go to the source and then try to check on this website, it tells me that it is using WordPress. Because the moment I see here WP includes, then WP content here, I can see here the plugins they have used. I can see here the themes they have used. I can see here the files and the images they are using in their websites. See all these. For instance, this one here, this image is inside here, like this one, like this one, like this one, and that one. This one is now the one that you are seeing at the back here. So if I want to even download that, you can just right click like this, and then you can be able to get that file. You can save it, or you can copy that, you can save that file. So you see, you can save it somewhere here and let it be here. So once I put it there, then I can also be able to use it in another website. So these are the codes sections. All the things are available here. So all these are codes that we are talking about. So there is no website that is existing without having that. So they are using a plugin called, this is Celtomy Google Tag Manager. They also have what is called the loader, the web parser. Then you look at the themes that they are using. They have spinners and other things here, functionalities and so on. So this one is running on WordPress. And what is a WordPress? You come here and then search for WordPress. WordPress is here and it's running millions of applications in the globe. For instance, just inside my development space here, when I go to the development space here, there is a website here for Safari company. Safari. Let's say that we are talking about this company called lean.com. And then I come here because now my server is running. I can easily access it. So I come here and then I say localhost. Then I want to run lean.com, which is in my development space there. So this is the Safari website, tour guides in Kenya and across the globe. So there are animals here. So we are building it, and we have built it for some time. And when people are there doing their safari visits or whatever, just know that we are the creators of this, the triggertours.com. Like if you use triggertours.com, where the developers can see that. So this is website for this institution. So you have to give it some time for it to load. Seems to be the website seems to be taking longer a bit to load. It's because of the internet. But when you have sites like Safari Safari Tours and Travel, let's say you have Safari Tours, Travels, Bosel Discoveries, and so on. So all those are, we have this trigger here. See, that's the one that we were talking about here. It's just that it's taking longer to load. I think it has a problem that needs to be fixed. But those are the things that we are saying. You need to be able to create. Here it is. It's loading now. I think there's a problem with it because these are the entire codes here. You see, it also has a problem with loading all the sections there and so on. It's taking longer to load. Here it is. Now, for instance, this one here. You see, you're going to visit animals and so on, all these things, all this information and so on. So the images here, the videos here, people enjoying somewhere and doing some things. That is it. Like now, if it is about our, okay, Dollar Shamba is also our system, but this one is a web app because this one the ministry is adopting it completely. Then we have the Dollar's Age, which is now our main website here. You see, like this training, we have all the information about it there. So if somebody wanted to register, would have just done that. The amount to be paid is there and everything there. Then you submit your information there. So instead of asking how much do we charging or whatever, it's all there in the website. And the learning materials, we load them here under the course materials section. So if you need or you're requesting for some, you put there the emails, then you make a request for that. Then you have also the community engagement here, where we have said that if you want to talk about AI training cohort, you can be able to chat here, make stories. If it is changing the way you do things and so on, it's there. If it's about now the consultants based on our services, because we have wider services across the globe, having partners across the UK and the US, and you want to talk about AI and machine learning and all those things, then you just have to give us a call or a contact us, or you can be able to book what is called an appointment, and then we discuss more. Pricing for all our consultancy services are there. So we have put everything to be available. So all that is about the power of websites that we need to be able to know. Now, can we now dive into what are these websites so that you can start building something? Now, first of all, you need to understand what languages are used. Hypertext markup language is one of the languages that are used in the front end, and you need to be able to know how to write them. So once you know how to write those basic ones, then you can now build any other thing. Why? Because you need to know what's a paragraph, what are headings from heading 1 to heading 6, what are link A's, and so on. Images, how do you link images? How do you number or create listings? So all that is the basic structure. Now, how does any website code start? So it starts with a doc type HTML file, followed by the HTML tags, which can be closed. Then you can have the header, where you have the title and all the JavaScript, metadata, and other things that you want. So all that will make up the header. So the head starts from here and it ends here. So the title starts here, it ends there. A title is inside a header. HTML will cover everything, including the body. So you see, you are starting with the body, then you put now the content there, heading 1, and then end that body. Then you can now end the HTML with a backslash. So you can see everything that you start ends with a backslash with the same. Everything that you start has ended with backslash. Everything that you started ends with a backslash, and so on. So for instance, that code, can you be able to write that? So what do you need? You need something like Sublime Text, Notepad, plus plus, and so on. So we call them editors. So can we be able to write something like that? Yes, you can practice that. So you can open something like Notepad, then you open it like that. Let's say that you open this, and then you have to start writing something here. See, so you can see here you are changing things here to heading 1 and whatever, the body, the section, and so on. So you can write here something like let me try to format this font size. Let me increase the font size, something like 24, so that you can see it very clearly. Yes, so I have already modified that. Can now come back here. So we are saying you are starting with something like a doc type HTML, then you end it there, and then you can start with the HTML tags. For this HTML tag, you have to lock it with the HTML like that. So what do? You move this down. Then here you have to start with the head. Then you have to close this head like that. Then you can open it, so that now you can put the elements inside here. For instance, title of the website. So what is the title of the website? Let's say AI training for Hot 3, like that. Then I end with that title. I lock it. So that is perfect, done. Then I come from the header. We now start with the body. The body is now where you are going to put all the content about your website. So what do you put inside the header? The header, you put menus. For instance, now here, if we come to this, uh, for instance, we use like Harvard. So these are menus: academic, campus, in focus, visit, about, news. So these are called menus. So all this is a header. So all this section, if I can be able to show you that all this section from here, let's say from here, coming like this, that way, going this way, coming this way. All this part is called a header because you have here the banner. This is called a banner, this space here. Then you have the menus. So these are menus. All this is a banner with some information. Then you have the search bar, or the search tool. Then you have the logo. Sorry, this is the logo here. And then this is a tagline. This is a tagline. And then some brief information here. So all these are the header. Then after that, now that's when now you can now have what is called now the body. Now the body begins where now your content, actual content now starts from here, coming like that. So all this is now the body. So the body will come like that, like that. All this is the body, the body, the body. All this is the body now until here. Now you can see there's another color down here. So this color down here is now showing what is called, this is now what is called now the footer. So this is the footer. This is the footer. Okay, all this other side is the body. So what are the contents of the footer? We say that it's about contacts, other information, the logo and branding that you want. You can have the social media icons, and then you can have some copyright information that you want here, which displays the year and other things. So you must be able to know each section of a website, what is the content that is contained, because it will be very funny that now you are carrying the social medias and you are putting them inside the body. Your website will be very funny because it will show that you don't know what you are doing. Yet that is a concept that you need to know. So that's why you see we are splitting them like that. Now the body here, we can have what are called headings. So headings, we have heading 1 up to heading 6. So let's say heading 1, we say welcome to AI training cohort 3. So we started with that, we have to lock it with that. Then we come here and then we give heading 4, because heading 4 will be smaller than just the way you use Word document. So here we can say that is what we offer. In this training. So I'll lock with heading 4. And then you can have here what is called a paragraph. So for paragraph you use P, and you can say that This is a very overwhelming or a very interesting program mandated to equip skills to the trainee in various levels of professionalism. Professionalism. All are welcome. Then I can end there, so I can put there P. But now I want to have a break here. So for me to have a break here, I can do here. Then I can say BR and then close, so that I can shift that text to the other line. So after that, now I can end here with another, let's say heading 5, and say thank you. Thank you. So just like that, and then I lock heading 5. So you are supposed to do that on your side also. So once I do that, that is the body. Then I can come here and add something called okay, because that is the body. Still can be able to have what is called the footer, or a section called the footer, but we can leave it there, although we can write it as just as a section, and you can end it, but all of it needs to come inside the body section. So once we have that one, then we can now be able to save this file. So for us to save this file, you have to click that and then go to save. So how are we going to save this? Let's say that we are dealing with let me go to where we can be able to save this file, or let me just do it inside the server area. Let me go here, and then let me go to htdocs, and then create here a website saying this is cohort3.com or .ac.ke, or I can say .edu, like that, or 3.edu. So I can come inside here and then I save this file. So all these uh, web files needs to be saved as .html. So when you'll be picking here the type, you need to look for hypertext markup language. So let us do that. So I'll do this, I'll move that, then I'll say this is index.html, or you can just say index, then we search here for which type of a file is that. So because it doesn't give us the area, I can say here all, and then specify myself there .html, so that you have it as .html. If it is contact us, if it is home, you can write it here. Home page, contact us, about us, you can change that, but end with html, .html. So for instance, that now this one, I want this to be like home, then I can say, or contact us, and let's just say home. Then I can just say their home like that dot html, and then I'll be able to say save. So right now we have saved this file. These are codes, but what are they displaying? Let us now try to see it. Now once we have saved it like that, this is where I've saved it. I've saved it inside here, and it's called, now you can see how it is seeing that file. It's seeing that file as HTML, which means that it's browser compatible to be opened by the browser. So we have saved it as home.html. Now you can either open this by double clicking, and now you see the results here. That is what we wrote there, and you can see this title here is bigger compared to the second one, compared to this one, and compared to this one. So you can tell this one was heading 1, H1, this one was H4, this one was a paragraph, and this one was heading 5. So you can distinguish the sizes, and that is what you have from your code here. So that is what we were writing and all that. Now, where is this title? If you come here to what we have opened here, up here, are you seeing up here? When I bring the cursor there, up here, this is where that name is. You see this one? You see the one for Harvard? All that. So that is the title, the web title. That is what all these that you are seeing here, all these you are seeing on top here, here. So all these are the ones that we say they are web titles. So that's why we had to put this one here. Okay. Then this one is what you have seen. This one is what you have also seen. This paragraph you have seen that all are welcome has been shifted to the next line. When we see, when we check here, you can see this here, that this line is not within the same line here. It's not continuous here. Why? Because we used an element called break, this one here, so that it can break and shift it to the next line. If we remove this, then all that text will go to the same line. Let's save this. And now we come here and refresh our website. You see it has come to it has moved to this other line. So it is one paragraph. So for you to do anything, you need to know what are you doing. So that's why we had placed here that break. So that is the break to shift it to the next line. So if it is to list elements, for instance, that you wanted to list which type of offers do we have here, then you would have started with UI or like that. Then you can have something like OI or O1 or whatever, the way we have said here, that you can have UL and OL here for listing. So in case that we use these two for listing, that's what I'm trying I'm showing you here that we have to do. So in case that we want to list what we offer, then that is when we need to use this. So for these ones now, you can be able to use this different. So you can have this one here, whereby we can have the same this one, and then we do the back with the back stroke. Let's just put it here, just use here the back, and then we do this. And then this one that we had here, this is for listing. So you can be able to put this one here, and then we can lock. So you can say here is, let's say, AI and machine learning concepts. Now that one is done. So once we do that and I save it, can we see if it is added in our browser here? So you can see it as listed that. So that's what we offer. So it has that content there. So once you have this, now what if we now duplicate all this? I now have several of them. Like that. Then we say that now this other one is website development, website design and development. Then we talk about cyber security, like that. So those are three. So what if we do this? Now we refresh our web page. So you see all of them have been listed there. So there are also websites that you can be able to see, like www3. You can search for www3 school or w3 school here, and then be able to do your self learning. So that, let's say you want to study about HTML, so you come here to HTML and then you start learning about it. So let's say you want to study about listing, so you can come here to listing and then be able to see how you can be able to do that. Assume that we want to list this our files with this style, then we are going to use li. So all zero is unlisted. So if we want to replace this, we can be able to say li, then we can say here li, we can say here li, also here li, you can change here to li, and now here also to li. So once you do that and then you come here and save, then you come back here and refresh your website, then you see this happening. Now what if I want to use numbers? Now ordered lists. Now we have to start with ol or ol. So you have used ol. Now what if we duplicate this? We duplicate this and then down here I put it there, but now for this time I use ol instead of ul. So use here ol, like that. So let's see. So this one here can be able to say that, so this is how we comment. So we can say that this is the ordered list. then I can be able to end that. So this is how we comment in CSS. And then here I can put it here and then say this is an list, an ordered list. So I can move this. These are comments. Comment. This is also comment. So once we do this, I come back to this and refresh our website here. You see now these ones are numbered, these ones are not numbered. So in fact, we can be able to change this. These are ordered, numbered, numerical numbered. This is an ordered, this is ordered, but ordered with bullet numbering. Bullet numbering. So anything that you put inside this is not going to be displayed on the screen because it is a comment, just to help somebody understand the codes that you have. So if I come here now, I can be able now to say, if we now refresh, now you see that is what you have. So if you want to put an image or whatever, you can still do something there. So you can say here that maybe you want to put an image. So you can say image, and then you can say here an image. Let's say like that, tags. But then you have to call here with the image name that's available. So there's self-learning platforms. Like you come here and then you say that you want to link an image. Then you come here to HTML images. Then you just come here how to link an image. Let's say that you want to link it an image and then put a text on it. Let's say that you want this house to be printed out. So we can save this image, save as, or I can be able to just see if we can be able to download that as the image, or we can just say that let's download an image on AI image, AI image, AI training, AI training image. So we can do that, and now we can, let's say that we wish to use this one or this one. So I can right click that and then save the image. So I have to go to our website inside here, then create here a folder called image. Or images, and then now inside here I can put that as ai.jpg, then save it there. So assume that now I want to get that image. So I'll use this text here, image, then I can be able to search for it using that alternate. So you put the URLs plus the source section, but you start with the image brand first. So you come here and then we want to open that image that we have placed there. So what do? We can start here with that code called image, and then point to the source. So the source is called what? Images stroke. What is the name of the image? We have named it as AI. So what is the alternating text? You can say AI training in session. So that is the alternating text. So I want that image to come uh, before the paragraph. So we can do here and save. Then I can come here and refresh that. So you see that is the image. It has appeared there before the text. So that is how these things work and operate. The screen is not showing. How? I think others are seeing my screen. Praise Gideon. Others are seeing my screen. Or is everybody not seeing my screen? Hello?
Not clear, Prof.
Or this
But
side here?
appeared. Yeah, now it's clear.
Yes. So that's what I was saying, that changing or attaching an image. That's how you can be able to do within the code. Then when you refresh our site, this is the results that you are going to get. You see now our image is there. When you hover it here, the text that it will be able to show you is AI training in session. This is now our paragraph, and then they take you text that is there. Now this is a HTML page without CSS. Without CSS. So that's why you need to have some knowledge about cascading style sheet. So you'll have to use what are called CSS. So if you have just somebody without sometimes we use a term called, you have a girlfriend who doesn't know how to apply makeup or put on very nice clothes or whatever, because now CSS is now the decorations that you can now add into your HTML text, so that now you can be able to have colors and other things being added to it. So for instance, that now assume that we want to put our body this as the CSS within that area. So how is it going to work? You see, for us to have a result like this one, so you'll need to put some CSS somewhere. So for that case, then you will need to start with something here. So we come on top of the body here, especially up in the header section. So mostly we put it in the header section, or you can decide also to put it inside the body section part, but mostly it is within the header section. That is where you put your CSS. So you come to the header section here, in between here. This is where you can put the JavaScript text or the styles CSS. Now this one, now we can say this is adding the cascading style sheet to add colors and backgrounds to our website. So that is what we are doing here. So that is just a comment I'm adding there. Then we can be able to do here styles. Then I'll be able to lock that with styles like that. So once we do that, we can now be able now to move this to here, so that now we can put here the code that we want to style our body. Remember we had talked about the body section there. Our H1, H4, and H5. They're going to have that text. So you can move it inside. Oh, sorry. So this is the paragraph. So we're giving it that font style and font size. So this is now CSS. So the function of the CSS is to add all the forms of decorations that you want it to have. So once we now save this, and then we come back here and refresh our website, that is now what you have. So you see it is taking shape and is changing with time. So let's say that now maybe you wanted to change with the color, uh, let's say in the magenta, and then you save that. Then we come here and refresh our website. So you see, so that is how you create these things, the website and other things. So you see we have centered the heading 1, heading 2, and heading 4 and heading 5 together. That is the line of code that I've done here. You see I had to combine all this and then do it once. Text color here is white. If I want it to be different color, then you can be able to change that. So here the text here is 20. What if we say 26, the font size for our paragraph? So I want you to study what change will happen to our paragraph. So this is our paragraph here. You see how it looks like. What if we change it to that 26? Will it look so bigger? So refresh. So you can see now our text, our paragraph is now very big. And you can do that to all the thing. You can even float this one to the center. You can float this one somewhere to the left, to the right, and so on. So that is how you deal with websites. So that is just a nutshell within the coding space, and that is how you can be able to code from scratch. What about now other tools, AI tools that we can be able to use to create our own website? Now, this is now when you know how to code, when to code, and how everything is being done. Mhm. How everything is being done. Being done. What about that now you have no knowledge on how to do this? You see, it will be very difficult for you and very hectic for you. So that's why we have alternative AI tools that are able to do for you that task. Let's say that trigger tours. Let's say that you wanted this kind of a website. So what can you do? Can you ask ChatGPT to create for you that? Yes. You can even come here to ChatGPT and say that create my front page to look like this website, and then you put that website. Let's say you do that, and then you run. So it's going to think, look at it, search for that website, and then be able to do what you want it to do. So it's accessing this website here, and then it's going to try to work to achieve this. So it has thought about that full screen and everything. It has got all those images you see from this website. So it has created some things here. So we are saying create a full HTML file for my website looking like that. So it's there. So that is the HTML code plus the CSS. So it's there thinking for you, doing all that for you, doing all that for you. So let it finish. So he's still thinking, he's still fixing many things. So it has finished. Now, what it says that now you can do this, so you can save it under HTML file. Let's now come to our section here, and then we create another new file here. Let me say that I want to create a new file. Let's say new tab.
The
And
screen is black again.
okay, they're saying the screen is black. I think the interface that we have opened is dark a bit. Is that
Yeah. Now it's back. It's back now.
yes? Now, assume that now we are creating a file called index. So I'm going to save this file. Let's say just this is HTML. Then I can do here HTML. Then I'm going to save this file inside my website area, and I'm going to call it index.html. So I'll save that. Now inside here, I want to replace the content with what our chat GPT, for example, has done for us, has created for us. So I'll come here and then remove this and then replace that content there. So all this is the website that it has created for us. So the images it has searched for that. That is the source, and that is what it has. So it has not done something different from what we did in our first work here. So that means that you need to know and master what does it mean. So all this now we can save. Once we save it like this, let us now come to our browser here, and now here we can call this to be index.html like that, and then search. So you can see that is the website that we have right now from that line of code. So this is what we have now. That is what we have created. That is what is inside here. All this. that we have asked our AI to do and generate, because we have given it to access something. So from that access, now it has generated the entire code that we wanted to write. See, all this is HTML, the files are here, and so on. So that is what it has created. So you come here to home, destination, tours, experience, and that's what is here. Home, about us, destinations, tours, listings, and so on. So all this, you see, the images here and there. That is what now. Now for us now to call that as our website, because now inside our website here we have cohort 3.edu. That is the name of our website. We can now call it localhost, and then we can say cohort 3.edu. So once I search that, then that is the website. So you see, we have finished building something within a short period of time, even when you don't know how to code. So what if we can tell it that now link all the pages created in the menus and create separate menu items for the clients to be able to access. And then we do that. So it's going to add those menus. See, that is now the recommended structure of that website. So it's going to do all this section. Now, the major thing is to know what is the website structure. For instance, that now you've been given this as the structure. That you have the home page, which is made up of about us, destination, tours, HTML, experiences, gallery, testimonial, blog, and facts and contacts. Then you have booking, you have destinations, you have tours, you have account, you have assets, and so on. So you can see all that client portal. Then you can have the footer links. Then you can have the homepage links. Then we can have the destination links and all that additional things, and then professional. Now you can say that now update the index.html with these changes. So you are prompting a chatbot here to be able to do for you what you wanted to achieve within a short period of time. So it's going to do all that, create for you all these, and then you are free to go. So you can see here it says that to update your HTML, replace the existing header section with the following enhanced navigation structure. Then add the following CSS to your style sheet, and then update the hero section button to be that to create these additional pages in your project roots. So you have to create that, add these folders. So inside folders we can have all these folders are accessible, which we can now be able now to do that in the update section another day. So I think this one now we can be able now to proceed on this next session. Then I show you now how to work or using other tools that exist. For meanwhile, now you have known how to build something from scratch, and then utilize AI tools to create more things for you that are good. So that is what you can be able to do even if you don't know how to code. And I would wish to end there today, even without maybe just let me just complete with this a little bit. Basic HTML tags, I think I've explained that. Semantics in HTMLs, we have talked about header, navigation sections, articles, and footers. We've talked about what is CSS, cascading style sheet, and how it can be used. We've talked about external, internal, or inline elements. So we have syntax about CSS. You've seen how we have used the body with the background color, light blue, and so on. So header one, how we have done the coloring and alignments of those texts. So we've used the color, text, box model, and layouts within our design. So I have assignment for you, practical exercise. Create a simple website or a web page, create an index HTML file, add some CSS, add some JavaScripts, and view in a browser. Just the way we have done ours. Then you view on a browser. The other, how it works, I want you to check the form validation, prevent form submissions, and that is what I want you to achieve in your assignment. So I'll send you this slide to you so that you look at that assignment, try to attempt that. Try to work with AI tools like Geminis and ChatGPTs to help you come up with that, and then display to us the results in the next session, which is tomorrow, uh, 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes before we start the classes. So you show us what you have done. So the homework assignment, create a web page about yourself using HTML and CSS. About yourself, I want you to create a bio about yourself. Add some headings, paragraphs, and image and lists. Then apply external CSS styling, and that will be the end of your homework. So please do that. Then for further learning, I've said check W3 Schools website. Just search for W3 Schools and then go to HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and so on. Study that. Or you can study from MDN Web Docs, and then you can still get that. Or you can study from the free code camp. You can be able to get learning materials there. I would wish to end there. That makes the end of our discussion today. Unless you have a question for me now. Any query? So I can now shut down my servers.
Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I just want to ask that in the current digital economy,
Yes.
what specific career opportunities, entrepreneurial ventures, and freelance prospects can be unlocked through the mastery of HTML and CSS?
Yes, sir. I have questions, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Let me begin.
Proceed.
My own question go like this. Considering the emergency of AI powered website builder, why it is still important for aspirant website developers to learn HTML and CSS from scratch? What are the major limitations of HTML and CSS along in developing modern interactive and dynamic websites, and how can this limitation be addressed? How can developer ensure that websites designed with HTML and CSS are accessible to people with disability and influence for desired diverse user. What are the most common mistakes beginner makes with writing HTML and CSS, and what best practice can help them develop professional qualities websites in this current digital economic and specific career opportunities entrepreneurship ventures and freelancers prospects can unlock through majesties of HTML and CSS. That's my question, sir. Thank you. No,
All right.
that's my question, sir.
All right. Your question is on the essence of still learning and studying HTML in the era of AI. Is that right? From scratch.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So that's okay. I've got your point. Any other question? I see there is Adesina who has raised his hand. Abayodun Adesina. Are you there? Adesina, unmute. Your hand is up. Okay, he has left. So I start with Esther. Esther has said that what are the fundamentals or why do we still need to learn about HTML and other these languages from scratch at this era of AI? So to answer that question is that AI will generate for you the code, but you don't know how to configure it. Will you be able to execute that? You will not be able to execute that. So first of all, you need to know how are they being made. From there, now you have the knowledge about it. When you now have the knowledge about it, and now here are now the chatbot to help you now generate them. In case there is a breakage area somewhere, you can be able to fix it. You have the knowledge to be able to fix that. Uh, Most of the chatbots or AI bots are not even coding mostly with HTML. Like we have those ones which are building using Node.js, which are the TypeScripts because they are lighter. So HTML, we are learning it because it's the basic foundation to introduce you to the internet and web development world. But there are vast languages that are there. We have talked about TypeScripts like Nest.js, React.js, AngularJS, Node.js, Ruby on Rails.js, and all those. So all those are concepts that now the TypeScripts are being used today. You talk about Vercels, they are all AI generating codes. You talk about codecs, which are incorporated within the chat GPTs. They are used for coding and they are able to generate codes that you want. So there are concepts that can be answered based on your desire. Now, assume that now you have not learned about .js. How will you be able to structure your own website for your own organization? The knowledge that you only need to know is maybe the basic one, which is HTML and CSS and all this. Because what you just have, like if you are dealing with for example, Lovable, you're talking about maybe Vercel, you're talking about Laravel and so on. All these are TypeScripts. Uh, Within these concepts, they are all using JavaScript. So JavaScript is now in the lightweight format is now the ones that now we call them as TypeScripts. Then we have what are called CSS. CSS does not change. The same even if you use what is called any chatbot, it will have to give you the types the CSS. For example, here you have seen here it has generated this is HTML code. So in case that you have not paid for a premium to build your website complete from scratch to a complete one, then you don't have that money. You are using a free version, which is limited. How will you complete that website for your client? So that's why you need to have some basic knowledge by yourself first. How is it being made? Then this one here is CSS, because there is no code that can be able to run without them. That's why you need first of all to have the basics to understand what are these CSS, what are these JavaScripts, and then what are these HTML. From there now, once you know them, you can now be able now to prompt any chatbot or AI bot to be able now to do for you what you want because you know it. But you cannot just wake up from bed, then you say that you want a website. You even don't know which platform can you be able to interact with it for it to build for you that website. Number two, you don't know even how do you make the concept that you want to be achieved within the website development space for your system to be built. So for instance, now you can see here, the prompts are coming continuously based on my knowledge. AI cannot be able to know because you see, from the first time it has done its own, then it thought that it has ended there. Yet for me, I have more knowledge. So you see, I'm telling it, can you link all the pages created in the menus and create separate menus items for the clients to be able to access? How can you be able to build that when you don't have the concept from your own mind? AI cannot reason for you. It is there to help you now act, actualize what is in your mindset. So if you can't reason beyond it, then it cannot do for you anything. It's just like chatting with a baby. If you don't send the baby to go and fetch you water and so on, then you cannot be able to teach this child on what to do several things. So AI is just like a tool. It is there, but it can only do things when you know what exactly you want it to do. And in cases where you don't have that knowledge, then it is better that you have this knowledge from scratch. That's why we are learning it from scratch, then fast, so that you understand the basics first before you now shift. You have seen how I have started my lecture. I've started first by writing some basic codes for you. Then I have now transformed your mindset and thinking level now to the AI area, a chatbot now like ChatGPT to generate a page. And now you have seen now how it is now able now to do it based on the knowledge that you have. So it is very important so that you can be able to make all the necessary adjustments where you are lost or where there is an error, because even these AIs make errors. And as they make errors, you need to have got more knowledge than it for you to identify where the error is and then be able to tell it to fix, or even fix yourself, or even guide it on how to fix it. Because sometimes you ask it even to fix it and then it makes it worse because it doesn't know what are you asking it to fix. So that's why you need to have the basic foundation to understand the structure of the code, how it is being done, which language is needed where and at what time, what can it do, how can it be used inside there, and what improvement can you be able to do within that for it to work best. I have answered both questions from Esther and my friend who asked his question there. But we are saying this, with the world as the world is moving, we are building things that are making complex work to be simpler. So in the older days, it was not so easy for you to come up with a website. But nowadays, you can even interact with the chatbot, and you have seen it, how it has been able to create for us this just like that within a short period of time. But does it mean that it has written here the codes that are different from what we wrote here earlier? No. It is just using the same concept. Therefore, Do you understand? For example, I want to change something here. Maybe it has used this color here. For instance, now it has used this color here, white, white, white here. Do you know the color code of white? That's now another question. From the nutshell, do you know the color code of white? No. But for me, I know the color code of what? Of white. So if I want to check on that, I'll say here, color codes. Then I can be able to have here the color codes in the entire world. So that now I can be able to know if it has used FF. What does FF mean? FF means white. When I come to this code here, and then I find it as written here that for the navigation links, the color is FF, hash FF. Did you know hash FF is white? You did not know. What is the meaning of font weight being 500? In your wording, you always do bolding, semi-bold, and ultra bold, and so on. So this is the number that is defining whether the font is going to be bold or not bold. For instance, it is changing what we have here. You see these menus, they are bolder than this text here. Why? Because the of this line here, font weight is 500. But if I ask you, can you define this? What this code here is doing in your code? You don't know. So that's why it is good you have the basic to understand what is this. Then so that now even if your AI is generating for you somewhere there, you understand better what it is doing for you. Are we together there? So I think I've answered most of those questions. So the essence is for you to have the basic knowledge so that you can be able to execute and make adjustments to the errors that the AI might be able to do. But for you to speed up your work, you tend to use the AI tools to be able to make that development very fast, because now you understand what you want and now you are interacting with a tool that is there to help you do that very fast. You only need to control it and guide it on how to do it. Thank you. Unless there is any other question again. Adesina, you had raised your hand, then you left. Are we together there now? Yes.
Yes, I appreciate the presentation, Prof.
Okay.
I really appreciate how you sail from the manual way of coding to how to generate HTML, CSS from ChatGPT. My question is, how can we integrate this skill? How can we integrate it for this undergraduate students' entrepreneurability? How can we really integrate it in our university to raise their entrepreneurability skills? That's my question. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. So I think your question is how can we be able to integrate these skills into entrepreneurability for our undergraduate and university candidates or university students? That is a very good concept. That's why within the learning space, we provide students with what are called these units as units. Sometimes you find a student is in a class studying about web development or website development with a certain university code. But then this student does not even understand that I only need this knowledge for me to start earning money. Students of today don't do their own research. They remain with what the lecturer or trainer has done. Then they think that is the end. Yet we have the internet, which is our global space. We have all these materials in the world, which they can access them. You don't need even to finish fourth year for you to start earning a living. We have concepts like graphic design. These are things that you can be able to use already designed tools. We have Canvas, we have all these other uh, tools that we can be able to dribbles, or we have Adobe XDs and so on, where we can be able to design what's called the user interfaces, the UI UX. So all these are concepts within the development sector. Then we have now the web design and web concepts. When you're talking about digital marketing requires skills for web design or web development because it's all about the worldwide visibility. So, when you're talking about search engine optimization, this is also just an area that a student from your class at the SINA can be able just to master and then start working on that area only and make money out of it. When it comes to development of these websites, it's just a small concept that your own student needs just to sit down, master it within 1 month or within 2 months, and he becomes a pro. He starts using these tools to develop these websites for people. We have so many businesses. Nowadays, we are saying if you are still dealing with brick and mortar type of businesses, you are in the old stone era. Your businesses cannot be featured in most of the Google's indexing. You will not be visible in areas more than your own locality and village. So how can we be able to unlock the, the sleeping space that you can be able to explore and get all these clients from? Today, if you don't do digital marketing through social media space, your business is almost dying. You can even finish 2 days or even a week or even a month without seeing a customer when you are just dealing with your shop. Yet, there is somebody who is just seated in their own home. They don't have a shop, but they know which shop sell what, and they have their contacts. They go to their social media platform, create a shop, and then run what are called Facebook advertisements or Google ads. Once he runs there and he puts some money there, like 3,000, 2,000, the advert is running for the next 1 month. When the ad is running, you are able to see it when you are interacting with your phone. You have seen here, this is a sponsored ad. Then you are seeing there he's selling some duvet. A duvet that you are seeing is what you have been missing and you have never seen it, and you like it. What do? You contact the person and then you call. Do you have these duvets? He tells you, yes, we have them and we have all these types of varieties. Yet this person does not even own a shop. The only thing he wanted to do is to reach out to you through various ways. So that is the adaptability and how we can be able to adapt or incorporate this concept into entrepreneurship level for our children, for our young youths, for them to start earning a living without asking for their parents for even a dime coin. And they'll be making vast millions of money just from their houses or small rooms that they have. They don't need to own a physical shop and pay all those revenues and taxes. You only need to run your own social media platform, run your advertisements, and market what you want. Thank you so much for that question. So, what we need to do is that as a person, if you are a lecturer or you are a professional individual, can you start guiding the young youths on project based learning, industry collaborations, and portfolio development, other than just teaching them for the purposes of passing exam? Teach them on freelancing and entrepreneurship training. Why? Because the students should learn how to market their skills, acquire clients, and manage projects. This enables the self-employment opportunities even before the graduation. So I think I would wish to end there. And I also want to appeal to every individual to try to have what are called professional skills development other than just the theoretical concepts. Whether you have your master's, whether you have your PhD, without incorporating this into problem solving, that people can be able to see your visibility, then you are just nothing. You are just doing nothing. All those things you went there was just theory and it had no purpose for us. A PhD person should be able to be solving problems that we are seeing by the eyes. A master's person should be able to be having solutions being seen by the community, by the people around you, not just telling us that this is the concept you have. It's making no sense because the professionalism skill is lacking. Then continuous learning. Let us continue learning every day. There is no end for learning until you die. Thank you so much, and I would wish to end my presentation there for today. Other questions, you can be able to present them tomorrow. For those who have not made the payments, please help me. Also to encourage me to spend all this time to impact you, to give you the skills, and to educate ourselves more better. Kindly. All the payments are there. You can visit the website. You can still contact me through my WhatsApp, and I can be able to send you all the payment section. Thank you so much, and I wish to see you tomorrow again. Goodbye.
Well done, Prof. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I think most of the people from here, I see when I synchronize my list, those who have paid and those who have not paid, those ones who have not paid are so many. And you see now, I don't like chasing somebody from the class. Let's just be professional ourselves and just do the necessary. Thank you so much and may God bless you. Let's see each other tomorrow. Goodbye.
Bye bye. A solid night's time from Nigeria.
Welcome, Dr.